Hi, I'd like to show you some of the special features that are available in Backup for all Professional 4.6. That's the larger version of Backup. I'd like to show you how I've been able to set up a schedule of backups so that I do one full backup followed by a week's worth of differential backups, and then it does a full backup again. I assume most of you already know how to use the creation of a backup in the first place, just a straightforward one. I found this option to be very handy. I'll show you what my settings are, and I think that'll be the best place for you to start from. There aren't a lot of changes, just a few things that we might see along the way. The title is normal. The destination in my case is to a local drive. It's my D drive, which is dedicated to backups. The source, you just select your files like normal. Under type, you'll see here the default is set to differential. For those who don't know what differential backing up is, it's where it works out what has changed since the last full backup, and it accumulates these updates along every time you do a backup, like every day. It says, well, what's changed since the last backup, so that file gets larger and larger for each backup that you do, so that the last backup you do will be considerably larger than the first one of the set of differentials. It will reset once you do a full backup. But I think it needs to be noted that the full backup must be done from the backup set that you've created. It can't be a different one. So what we see here is the default has been set to differential, and this is where a change is that under save storage space we've set it to 15. What that will do, allows us to have 14 backups, of which 2 will be full backups, and then the other 12 will be differential. Under differential, here we set its name. I suggest you put in the date at the end. This is using the date code, and maybe a descriptor of some form at the beginning. I don't recommend putting an insertion code or tag, as we see here. I don't recommend that you put one over here, because it changes the name, and the grooming process seems to have trouble with that when it comes to removing backups. There's no other changes that you can see here. Compression is the same. Under advanced, these are my settings. You can see they're all the standard ones. Just a point that I mention is that you don't run this option here. If you run the clear backup, then it will wipe out any previous backups that you have in place. So it literally clears it and starts again. It will reset the number to 1, which will make more sense when you're doing multiple sets of a backup. You can modify this to say, look, do it after every 7 or something like that, but when it reaches 7 it wipes out all the backups and then starts again. I don't recommend that in this particular scenario, because you will get to a point where it will wipe out everything before it starts doing a backup, and there is a danger that if something goes wrong, you've lost everything and you have no backup to fall back on. And through my past experience, this is usually when it happens, that you have a problem. So I don't recommend using that in this context. The real change or modification here is that we set up 2 schedules for this one backup. What we do is we need to set up one like this. I'm going to show you how the settings are here. Thing is, what we're telling it to do is we want this one to run on a Monday. In my case, I do a lot of work during the week and on the weekend, so I want to get a full backup at the start of the week. So I say just run this on a Monday, and it's going to be a full backup. I'll explain how I've told it to do that in just a moment. There are no other changes made at all. I'll just show you how I actually created that, you might be wondering, because the thing was set to differential. Everything here is usual, familiar. I tell it to use the inbuilt scheduler just for convenience. This is where the change is. You set your action to not be what the default is, which is differential, and you make it full. Thereupon it backs up everything that you have identified in your file's source list. Nothing else is different, and then you would click OK. I'm cancelling that. Then we create a second one, which is just the basic settings, exactly what we just looked at, but we leave it at the default, and we set the date when we'd like it to run. Under schedule, here we have it running weekly, same time, so early in the morning, but it only runs on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. That way we don't get a clash or anything like that. And that's really it. That's how it works, and what it will do is progressively work through and do your backups, but you have the safety of knowing that you have 2 full backups to fall back on in case something goes wrong and you need to go to a previous version. But you also have the differential ones, so what has changed in the approximately last 2 weeks. You can actually track down different versions of them. Well, that's it. But the reason why you might wonder why would we do this is that with hard disk drives the size that they are now, you may very well be saying, I need to be backing up my personal files, whatever, adds up to 30, 40, maybe a terabyte worth of data. Now, from my experience, it can take maybe about an hour to every 15 gigabytes of data. So for a terabyte, we're looking at something running for possibly 6 to 7 hours each time, which is quite a considerable amount, since a lot of that you're not modifying, but it may be your music files, your pictures and whatever that you want to protect. Using differential, we can reduce that process down to considerably less. In my case, I had 30 gigabytes of data. It took approximately 2.5 hours to back up full. Differential, it took 10 minutes to back up just the files that I had modified. That will progressively grow over during the course of a week, but we're still looking at probably the whole process taking half an hour to 45 minutes to do backing up of everything that is changed, but you're still completely covered with having a complete set of information. I hope you find that helpful. Thank you very much.